All right, guys, good morning. This is Jack with Jack Harrison Survival, and today I'm making a video on how to build an atlatl. So I've got two different types right here. For those of you who don't know what an atlatl is, it is one of the first projectile weapons we created as human beings. It's basically like one of those dog ball throwers, but it throws a spear or a small arrow. I'm going to keep this video very simple, and we're just going to focus on building the thrower. Now, as far as these are a couple that I built semi-recently, like within the last year. This is the newest one. As far as the anatomy of the atlatl, we have a few different parts, just so you guys get an idea of the terminology here. So we have the spur, which is a point, whether that is a piece of antler lashed on or bone or a piece carved, a piece of wood that is attached to the atlatl itself. I prefer to build wooden spurs. Personally, I just find it's easier, and I'd rather not attach something that may come loose or come undone. And this portion here is called the arm, and this is the portion that may flex a little bit and basically store some energy. These are counterweights, and basically what that does is when you put a heavy dart on here, it balances it out, and I believe it helps transfer a little bit of energy into the dart when you throw it. I know for me it slows my throw down just a little bit, which makes me a bit more accurate, and it makes it easier for me to stay still while holding the dart if I'm hunting and I don't want to, jump anything before I throw it. Or flag the game. These are the basically this portion of the atlatl is just the area that you grip. I don't know the term for it, but most of the atlatls I make have two holes. So basically my index and my middle finger go through these holes, and then this one's a little tight on me. And then I have the dart right here, so I throw it that way. Okay, so just like that. Now you can also, this is made from a deer leg skin, the hawk, and then this is made with another piece of redwood that I attached via hide glue and rawhide. So I lashed that on there, and it's the heartwood, so it's a dark red color, and they fit my knuckles in there. I burned the holes in with a bow drill. I got a really hard piece of wood and I used that to burn the holes in. You could use a normal drill. I just like to keep things, I try to do them myself without modern technology if I can. So anyways, there's the atlatl. Other ways you can hold it is you can leave it just no grips at all. You can just hold it baseball grip style. Some people put a single hole through and hold it just with one finger and grip the atlatl. There's a ton of different ways that you can hold the atlatl, and it's just about what works for you. But this particular atlatl we're going to make in this video is going to have these two holes, and I haven't decided whether or not they're going to be rawhide or whether they're going to be wood. That just is going to be dictated by the piece we get and how much time we want to put into it. So don't go anywhere. We're going to go cut ourselves a blank to build our atlatl out of. So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to select a piece of wood or a blank for our atlatl. So this is a piece of hazel that I blanked out the other day. You can see about the diameter of the branch, a little bit wider than this, but it doesn't need to be that wide. So the arm, there are many different styles of atlatls, and I don't know if I'll be able to include pictures of those because I haven't made all of the different styles. But my favorite style is to build a thin, flexible arm with the wooden spur integrated into the arm, and then attach, basically little rawhide or wooden bits to make it so I can grip it and throw the atlatl. As far as the length goes, this is a little long. I like my atlatl to be about from my fingertips outstretched to my armpit. Personally, I like it just a little bit shorter, so just maybe like 1.5 inches or 2 inches shorter than what I've got right here. But I like to leave a little extra length in the beginning, just in case I need to make some modifications or something like that. So we're looking for a branch somewhere in this diameter, at least for today. Now, if we wanted to build an atlatl that had integrated wooden holes for our fingers, then we would want to find a branch that's much larger, say something at least as wide as, you know, our two fingers spread out about 1.5 inches, plus a 1/4 inch on either side to accommodate for, you know, the wood that has to be, how thick it or wide the rings have to be in order to not break. Anyways, so we're gonna go for something kind of in between that. There's a lot of deadfall out here. We had a crazy winter, so a lot of trees came down, and I'm down here by the river. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna select a small piece, and then we'll go ahead and start blanking it out and talk about, you know, how we wanna shape it initially and kind of the strategies to get an atlatl quickly, and then how we would change that if we wanted to make like something that we were going to be more patient with and a little bit more of a beautiful piece rather than something quick and expedient for a survival situation. So let's go look for some sticks. Okay, so I found this willow. It's part of a larger willow that has collapsed and is actually dying now. It's not sending up any sucker shoots. You can tell the leaves are beginning to wilt. Part of the tree will survive, but the problem here is that it's submerged in water, and to be honest with you guys, this place is way overgrown. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to remove a small branch off of this fallen willow, and then I'll go ahead and use that for my blank. Right now, I'm thinking we'll go with something a little bigger, so I might either take this right here, or we'll go with something smaller, and I'll remove something like this in here. So this branch up here is probably like 1/3 bigger than this one down here. So I might just start with the small one, that way we can get a little more creative. And in a true survival situation, you're gonna wanna select a smaller, thinner piece, because that's less work you have to do on thinning it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my knife here and take a section off for our atlatl. We selected our blank for our atlatl. You can see it's about as long from my fingertips to my bicep, and we're gonna lose some length here in the process of whittling it down. It's pretty straight, and this is willow. You can use almost any type of wood for the atlatl. I like to use something that's fairly flexible. That way I can, you know, make my arm on my atlatl thin, and so that it has some of that flex in it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna debark it, and we're gonna go ahead and start profiling it out. Now the first thing I like to do is I like to just get it kind of flat, and I'm gonna leave it, you know, about 1 inch thick for now. So I'm not gonna make it any narrower, I'm just gonna get it even and flat so that it's like a board. So this actually split a little bit, so I'm gonna go with that split. And that just did a really nice job. We could actually build 2 atlatls out of this. We have this thinner piece here, put off to the side, and then we have this thicker one here. Both of them would work great. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and just take the bark off. So we've debarked this piece here. We'll put this smaller one aside and we'll use that for a different project. So right now, step 1 is going to be carving this flat. So I could use my larger blade here to do that. Say if I had a log or something like that, I could, you know, use the log as an anvil, and I could do a little chopping with it, just like this here. But I'm in sand right now, so it's a little hard to do that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, I don't wanna take too much wood off. Remember, you can only take it off, you can't put it back on. At least, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, I've got it nice and flat. You know, that didn't take too long. There's a few thicker sections here. It kind of dove a little bit right there where there's a branch. But otherwise, this will do a good job here. So, this is going to be the bottom. So this is going to be what faces down on my atlatl. I don't want to carve the whole thing flat, just one side in the beginning. Eventually we will carve it into a rectangle, but for right now, we want to do our best to keep it so that there's one side that's round and one side that's flat. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna baton out where our spur will be, and that'll set us up for the whole rest of the project. And there's a kind of a neat way to baton your spur out, and so I'll show you guys that right now. All right guys, so you can see I marked out a little X here at the top, and this is gonna be my spur, where this point is. I'm gonna refine it further later on in the carving process when we're building the atlatl, but for now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place my knife on the X, and I'm going to baton it in. It doesn't need to go super deep. Start slow, and your end goal, depending on the thickness of your atlatl, is going to be, I don't know, 1/2 of an inch down there, maybe less, maybe 1/4 of an inch. Better to go slow, and I'll show you what I do once I baton out the X. Okay, so I've batoned out that X, and I haven't done anything else to it, and you can see the pieces just kind of start chipping off, right? Now what that creates is a point right here, you can see on the side. And what we'll end up doing is we'll leave this top point here, and then we'll carve this whole side down. So it'll leave like a raised section at the very end. And I'll show you an example of one of my other ones to give you an idea. So here's an example of my other spurs. Right, so you can see where the X was, kind of, at least the top part. And this one I carved out a little more. But you kind of get the idea of where we're going with this, hopefully. All right, so now I've got my X cut out. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna keep removing wood. I'm not gonna touch this part. I'm just gonna remove from here down. And I'm gonna get that spur a little more defined. And I'm gonna decrease this in thickness quite a bit. So I've got my X cut out, and I'm just gonna start removing wood off of down here. You can see it's the beginning of our spur. Now I'm gonna go ahead and remove a whole bunch off of here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and so a little bit more removed. I'm gonna take some more and I'm gonna see if I can get a different angle for you guys so you can see a little better. Okay, let's get this out of the way. All right, so here's my spur right here. Just gonna go ahead and you could do this with a baton. I'm just using a pocket knife or a sheath knife. And remember, it's not a race. Like, this is getting kind of thin right there, so I'm gonna go slow down a little here. Take my time. Now, in a survival situation, you could pretty much get away with this almost how it is right now. The only thing you'd have to do is get a dart and undercut this spur a little bit so your dart would sit in there. By undercut, I mean taking your knife and basically making it so that the hollow end of the dart, and I'll show you guys a dart here in the second video, but that the hollow end of the dart can fit in there. So you imagine a point and then a little hole fitting onto that. The point is the spur, the hole is in the end of the dart. So it can sit on there, then you can throw it. So this would actually work really well, very quick. It's part of the reason I like the atlatl so much is you can literally just make one on the fly. All you need are 2 sticks. One that's, 5 to 7 feet long, relatively straight, about, 3/4 of an inch in diameter, as narrow as 1/2 an inch, and just, a 1.5 foot piece of wood that you can use for your thrower. So I would just use this and use a baseball grip on it, kind of like this, throw it like that. And if you're really good with the atlatl, this is all you need. So I'm getting a little bit of curve here. I'm going fast because of the video, so I'm just gonna sit down and enjoy the river, maybe take a dip, and keep whittling this thing away. I'll turn the video back on once I've got it looking a little bit thinner and even and more roughed out, and then we'll take it on to the next step. But all I'm gonna be doing is just getting this flat and even in thickness. I won't start on the spur yet. So, see you guys soon.